In this video, we are going to learn way of learning, which is the course flow. So here you can see the course flow. For every section, we will start with the problem and try to solve this problem with learning new pattern and principles, and we will apply these pattern and principles when designing our current architecture. And after that, we will adapting new technologies for our current design. And after that, we will evaluate this design and find out some problems, and we will continue this circle with completing every problem. So the idea is here, the architecture styles are not the solutions. Those are the tools that we can use for solving some particular problems which comes from the business teams. That's why we always start with the problem and identify problem clearly. So the first step always identifying problem clearly. And after that, we will learn architecture approaches, patterns, principles, and best practices related to the problem. And after that, we will fill our design toolbox and we will design initial architecture that will solve the problem with newly learning architecture pattern and principles. This is the design item. After designing, we will adapting with software tools like programming language, application frameworks, database, and so on. And lastly, we will evaluate our design and try to find pain points of current architecture, ask ourselves what's wrong with this architecture, how we can improve this current design. And we will iterate the architecture with following the same steps from the scratch problem to evaluate. So every section, we will start with the problem and solve with this problem during the section with learning new stuff, and at the end of the section, we will end up with another problem to make architecture better. This loop helps you understand how to design any software architecture for business requirements. As an example of this circle, we can say that we have a problem which is the sold product on the internet, and that's why we will learn e-commerce domain and required specifications, functional and non-functional requirement, and we will learn monolithic architecture. And after that, we will design monolithic architecture for e-commerce application, and we can after that adapting technology stack with programming language, application frameworks, and so on. And after that, we will evaluate this current architecture with advantage or disadvantages, what's wrong with this design, and we will identify the new problem and solve this problem with learning new stuff. And this process will restart for every problem that we faced in every section. So now let me show you some of the problems that we will solve during the course. Here you can see the some of the problems. For example, we have a problem which name is increase traffic, handle more requests. We will solve this problem with applying vertical and horizontal scaling. And second problem is breaking down application into microservices. We will solve this problem with learning microservice decomposition patterns. And another problem is direct client to service communication. To avoid this communication, we will learn microservice communication patterns. Another problem is inter-service communication makes heavy load on network traffic. To avoid this traffic, we can use gRPC technologies. Another problem comes from the business teams required chat with support agent on our e-commerce application that we solve this problem with using WebSocket APIs. Another problems that you can see service-to-service communication chain queries. To avoid this situation, we will use service aggregator pattern. Another problem is long-running operations can handle with synchronous communications. To solve this, we will use asynchronous message-based communications. Another problem is database bottlenecks when scaling different data requirements for microservices. To solve this, we will learn CAP theorem. Another problem is cross-service queries and write commands on distributed scaled databases. To solve this, we will learn data patterns, which including CQRS, materialized view patterns, and event sourcing pattern. Another problem is manage consistency across microservices in distributed transactions. To solve this, we will learn Saga pattern, transaction output patterns, and so on. And another problem is handle million of events across microservices. To solve this, we will learn event-driven microservice architectures. One of the problems is database operations are expensive, which is low performance. To solve this problem, we will use distributed caching strategies. Another problem is deploy microservices at any time with zero downtime and flexible scale. To solve this problem, we will learn containers, orchestrations, and Kubernetes related patterns. So these are some of the problems that we will solve during the course.